Hi.
Hello there.
I didn't know you were British, Mr. Alamo.
I come from Wiltshire.
I don't know what the hell you just said, so we're just gonna go with that. So yeah, you
Bloody
came
well
from.
good.
You sound
Jolly
like you
good.
said you came from Wales snot. Like what?
Jolly Wiltshire.
That's not what it sounded like. So what's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are all doing well, guys and gals. Welcome to the current episode of the Battle Bros podcast with myself, Mac, and this is my co-host Alamo. We are the Battle Bros. We have been doing this podcast. If you're new to the show, we've been doing this for a little over 2.5, almost 3 years. 3.5
I think
years.
it actually. I think as I think it might actually be 3-ish years.
Something like that.
It's impressive.
Um, we started this podcast after we found out about a friend of ours who had passed away, unfortunately, and we wanted to kind of honor his memory and his legacy. So this is us doing so every week by getting on here and just being the biggest pair of asshats that we can be. So hi. Um,
Huey.
if you haven't had the opportunity to do so, don't forget that we have our social media pages. We have a Facebook page, Instagram, X, YouTube, all that good stuff. You can get on there and follow all of our social media accounts. You can watch and or listen to all of our old episodes on YouTube on our YouTube page.
All
Which
the
this is
old
what
content.
all the old content. This is what our show goes live from every Friday night. We have a show, so yeah, just sit back, kick back, and relax. So,
Kicking the
uh,
buttons.
kicking, kick, kicking the tires and lights the fires. You'll understand why we're talking all German here in a minute. So, if you caught last week's episode, we were talking about the topic of rejection. That was a pretty decent conversation that we had. But I again am a little biased because I'm a part of all of these shows. So yeah, I think they're all freaking spectacular. But yeah, we had a discussion on the topic of
Fantastic.
we had a topic on the we had a discussion on the topic of rejection last week. Before we get into this week's episode, we got a little bit of news we wanted to talk about. Try to keep ourselves a little bit,
Sure enough.
contemporary and in the current realm of things. So, excuse me, I'm still on the tail end of getting over the crud, so just bear with me, folks. I might have an occasional like "Bleh," going on there. So, um,
And I'm right there with him.
yeah, we're both getting over the crud. So, this news comes from military.com. This was on the 12th, which was, I believe, this was from when? This was from December 9th. This is actually last week. Oh, I'm sorry. This was from Monday. Excuse me. So, you are going to show it? Okay, that's fine. We'll just show this one. So there are quite a few Air National Guard units that are set to transfer to the Space Force under the defense bill despite states' oppositions. So we're going to read over that real quick. Nearly 600 Air National Guardsmen whose focus on space missions would be transferred to the Space Force against the wishes of every governor in the country under Congress's newly unveiled annual defense bill that could soon be signed into law. Sorry. The final version of this year's National Defense Authorization Act, or NDAA, includes a provision to transfer 578 guardsmen who perform space missions on behalf of the Air Force's reserve component into active duty Space Force. In total, the legislation calls to move 33 airmen from Alaska, 126 from California, 119 from Colorado, 75 from here in Florida, 130 from Hawaii, 69 from Ohio, and 26 from the Air National Guard headquarters. Congressional agreement on the Department of Air Force's plan, Legislative Proposal 480, to move Air National Guard units with space missions into the active duty Space Force, which was first reported in April, was met by fierce condemnation by state governors and National Guard lobbyists. So, in a nutshell, basically what's going on is Space Force is brand new, just got started, what, freaking 5 years ago, 6 years ago?
Roughly abouts. Yeah, I think it was like in the right at the beginning of 2019 ish, something like that.
Yeah. I'm going to look it up real quick because I don't know, and I should know that. Like, holy crap. I just want to go to Wikipedia, damn it. There we go.
I mean, you would expect a brand new military force to be kind of like boosting up manpower as, their military capabilities begin to kind of,
Take shape.
take
2019.
shape. And yeah. Was it like right at the beginning? I think it was right at the beginning, right?
Actually, it's just short of 5 years. It was December 20th. So we're a week out
2019?
from it. 2019, 20 December of
Damn, right at
2019.
the
So
tail end.
we're a week out from their 5 year anniversary. So
Shit. Okay. But
so I can
yeah.
understand the whole, like, we got to get people into it. It's going to be a slow process. I mean, hell, next year the Marine Corps is going to have their 250th birthday, and here Space Force has got 5. You have a lot of things going on there. They've been around for a long time in regards to the Marine Corps, the Army, the Navy, even the Air
Lot of
Force.
time to make up for.
Right.
I mean, you're
So on
even
one
coming up
hand,
shy on the coasties.
yeah, I can understand why they're wanting to move and consolidate like all the space related mission stuff, mission skill sets over to Space Force to kind of alleviate um, the responsibility and just kind of have all of their ducks in one, all their eggs in one, roost, so to speak. However, coming from a National Guard background myself, I can kind of understand it's like you're losing all that manpower and availability to go not only from a reserve component such as the Guard or the Air Force Reserve, now it's going to active duty. So it's like,
Yeah.
So I get it, but at the one side of it, I can also understand why the governors would be a little bit pissed off and be like, we don't
Little
want
bit
this. And
peeved.
I believe reading earlier in that, reading about this a little bit earlier in the year, there were quite a few airmen that were reservists or National Guards who were like, I want to stay in the Guard, I want to stay in the Reserve because I do other stuff on the side. I don't want to go full time.
Yeah.
So, but it would be kind of cool to be, get in on the ground level of something that's only going to get better as time goes on. I mean, I gotta say the dress uniforms for Space Force, kind of freaking dope, kind of
Mhm.
badass.
I'll give it
It's
to
some,
him. He
it's
got some
it's
pretty cool
different.
crap.
It's different.
It's very Star Trek Federation-y, but all in
It's
black
very
hair.
very contemporary. Yeah, very contemporary. But there's a lot of they were smart. There was some things that were kind of in a way borrowed from other branches. Like you have what the hell do they call it? Now I gotta look it up again. Damn it. Like they're they call the dang whatchamacallit, the logo is like the delta, the globe, and the orbit, very similar to like the eagle, globe, and anchor. you know their motto is semper supra, which is always above. So you can kind of see where they kind of borrowed a little bit here, or they at least, I don't want to say borrow, that's probably not the correct terminology to use, but they kind of got some inspiration from a little bit from here, a little bit from there, a little from there.
Amalgamated.
It amalgamated, very, yeah, good SAT word. But yeah, being that it is the sixth service branch in the armed forces, all of their their logos and stuff, like the rank patches that they wear, are hexagonal in shape. So there's 6 sides to them, as opposed to being anything else. It's they thought it out. They did some cool stuff with it.
They did indeed.
So yeah. I don't know. Like like I said, on one hand, I get it. You're trying to build up the manpower and consolidate all the mission sets to be organized in a way that makes sense. I mean, just like the way that they've organized Marine infantry battalions or infantry brigade combat teams in the army or all that kind of jazz. I get it, but that is you know they just lose the governors lose out on these manpower, these the folks in the units that they're
Yeah.
going active duty. They just lose them like 500, 600 people almost in these
And
different
my
states.
assumption is that the reason they're probably losing their shit is because they are most likely very experienced individuals.
Oh, probably, yeah.
But I would kind of caveat that with you're going to need experienced people to build up a still pretty much brand new branch.
Oh yeah, they're still in their infancy, pretty much.
Because yeah, especially to build up the structure, to kind of fine tune how things are going to work,
Right.
how ground movements will work in terms of like getting things launched and all that
Well,
other
just
stuff.
logistical support, organizational support, the way that
Yeah.
the things are, the infrastructure of all that kind of stuff. Yeah, totally
Mhm.
makes sense. But my other question is, what I'd be curious to know is, do these, what happens to the budget, for these states that lose out on all these guardsmen and stuff, all these, service members that are now going to active duty and whatnot. So it makes me curious.
My guess it would probably be lessened. I wouldn't think by much though. I mean, it seems like it's it's a fairly small amount of personnel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's 600 folks, and it's not like the largest one there was what it was. The largest contingent was coming from Hawaii, actually, 130 Hawaii.
Damn,
Yeah,
Hawaii
which is
dedicated the most. That's crazy.
33 from Alaska, 126 from California, 119 from Colorado, 75 from the Sunshine State, 130 from Hawaii, 69 from Ohio, and then 26 from Air National Guard HQ.
But then again, I guess it would make sense. I mean, there's quite a bit of observatories out there in Hawaii, and you know,
Yeah, I mean, depending on what the mission set is. I mean, I would imagine a
yeah.
lot of it, I think, is a lot to do with like satellites and stuff. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
because that's kind of like their primary domain is just information control. But again, that's also why the Air Force just reinstated warrant officers. They brought all these guys back. This first time they've had warrant officers in almost 60 years, to bring back like cyber and IT and all that kind of stuff to give them a very competitive edge. So who
Gotcha.
knows? We'll see what happens. But
Indeed.
so a good caveat into what we're talking about this week. With the Space Force being the newest of the service branches, there's a lot of things that they have to come up with on their own, like the service motto, the service song, all that kind of jazz. So, and the reason I bring that up is we took some inspiration from the fact that we're entering now. We're pretty much in the middle, smack dab in the middle of the Christmas holiday season. We're only a week and a half away, I think. 12 days. 12 days away. Today's Friday the 13th.
Jesus.
Yeah.
N-
I still got to finish it up.
12 days starting tomorrow. 12 days starting tomorrow. God, that's insane to say.
And tomorrow it'll be 11 days on Wake Up.
11 days is it really 11 days in a wake up?
Your birthday is the 26th, and it'll be 12 days on Wake Up.
Yeah. Okay.
About
That
that.
makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what we do, folks. So, the reason I bring up the Christmas holiday is there's a lot of various traditions, and that is actually what we're going to be talking about tonight. The topic
Mhm,
for our
mhm,
for
mhm.
episode 09 or 6 is tradition. We're talking about tradition, not only from the military perspective, from just from various aspects of our life and whatnot, and how these are mostly good memories. Um, so before we get into the nitty gritty, let's talk about what that means. What is the meaning of tradition? Well, shit, I'll tell you. I'm glad you asked. Tradition is the transmission of customs or beliefs from generation to generation, or the fact of being passed on in this way. Now, this could go way into the woods and the weeds and stuff. We could talk about this for a week and still not scratch the surface. There's so many traditions out
Yep.
there. So when I think of tradition, I think of several that I've experienced in my lifetime. Um, the first being, um, especially like I think of high school a lot. Like when you're going through high school, there's a lot of traditions there. Like what the the understanding of what the homecoming tradition is. It's not just for the students that are there at the high school. It's for all the alumni and alumnus of the school to come back and visit the campus and all that kind of stuff, this, that, and the other. And they also have that same tradition in the college sense as well, the homecoming game, so to speak, where past graduates come back and relive the glory days and all that good stuff.
Freaking hooey.
Yeah. Another one that I thought about was like during graduation, after you pass the stage, you get your diploma. You go back to your seat. Everyone takes their tassel, switches it from the one side to the other. Some places go so far as to to toss
Do
their
the
gown
cap
up and
toss.
do the cap toss,
Yeah.
gown toss. Jesus, nobody's tossing no damn gown. What am I talking about?
Especially
Toss their gown. You'll see this.
one of the idiots that came in dressed under that thing naked.
Yeah. Woo!
Yeah, and it's funny too because like there was always a
Did
message
somebody
that went
sit
out.
gum?
It's like don't listen, don't come in there naked. But there was always somebody that did. Just it's like, yep, it's my last day of school.
I'm gonna be an idiot. Let me
Yeah.
just wear a weasel squeezer and just call it a day.
Yep.
Good times.
Mm-hmm.
Good times. But yeah,
I was half
simple
tempted
things
to
like
do that.
that. What's up?
I was half tempted to do that.
I'm glad
I
you
didn't.
didn't.
I
Yeah,
didn't.
I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah.
But other traditions such as the tradition of like your class ring, letter jacket. That's another good tradition from high school. Um, so I was in the process of researching this. I asked some other friends of some of the things that they have experienced in their lifetime. From different walks of life and different professions they've had. A very good friend of mine that I work with, she is very much involved in the motorcycle culture. She rides with a motorcycle club and whatnot.
Motociclo.
And one of the things that she was telling me about was the practice of something called the final rev. So if there is a member of a motorcycle group that passes away or whatnot, they all meet up at one place and they all rev their motorcycles, really loud as kind of like the final send off and saying goodbye to that person. Um, the other, another example being what they call throttle hand up. Say, oh, my mom's real sick, hypothetically speaking. I'm really worried about her. Instead of saying we're praying for her, they say, hey, man, throttle hand up. So something along those lines. I'm
Yeah.
paraphrasing here. I don't want to say the wrong thing and piss anybody off, but you get the gist. Some other examples that I came across: nurses. When nurses graduate nursing school, like they used to do the white hat and the white nurses uniform and stuff. They don't really do that. The white hat, not so much anymore. But if you have somebody in your family that was a nurse before you, they actually come up and put your nurse and pin the nurse pin on you themselves. And it has to be somebody that was a nurse previously in your family, or they have somebody there that's part of the faculty do it.
Nice.
Another one being like different service organizations, like the Elks Lodge. If you are getting pinned as an elk, you actually can have somebody come in and that's an elk previous, and they will pin the new elk to when they become a member of that lodge or become a member of the Elks Lodge and all that kind of stuff. So that brings us to the military, and there are a metric ton of traditions in the military, obviously.
Sure the hell are.
I mean, I can tell you just some. So we were talking about this earlier in the week, and some of the traditions that we experienced. We're getting the dog shit smoked out of you right as soon as you get off the bus at reception battalion, and then making your way down to the battalion From the word the shark attack. They don't do that
Yep.
anymore, which is in a way I think
Stupid.
it's yeah, it's probably a little stupid, but I mean that was a defining part of our generation was like that's what happened. You just everybody had that same experience where you had like three or four guys just come up and shark attack you. You're just like you don't know what to do, and it's kind of like that's a character building moment, which
Yeah.
is pretty cool.
It's his character building moment too. But it's not only that. It's a way of like figuring out like you see people in all their
Shut the fuck
glory.
down, and just like and they don't know what to
Yeah.
do.
You see exactly. You see people in all their glory and like you figure out who's gonna, you know, start to either be a problem or start to be a help when, you
Yeah,
know, shit really hits the fan. And in all
and
honesty, if someone is acting calm, cool, and collected during a lot of those things and can take a lot of that punishment, like it's not to say that they won't panic when they get to,
a high stress
any kind of
situation.
theater or in the, but the likelihood that they will not have like a catastrophic like freaking panic attack or something like that, your odds are a lot higher.
Yeah.
And
And if anything, it's a good way to just kind of
you know
quickly
you
give an
you, you
assessment of
you know
those
you
kind of people.
yeah. And you kind of witness it when when like, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure every platoon had them. Those guys that just ended up going AWOL and never came back to basic training, and then like
Or
I
tried
guess
and they
like
got
later
picked up
on
by
down
the MPs.
got picked up by the MPs,
Dude, hold on,
silly
hold on,
crap
hold on,
like
hold on.
that.
We had a guy, I don't want to say his name. We had this
Mhm.
guy who went AWOL. And everybody knew if you hit the railroad tracks on post, you just went a certain way. He went the wrong way and ended up in downtown Columbus. And
Mm,
an off duty drill sergeant picked him up. He's like, "Hey there, private. Where you going?" "Oh, I'm just doing laundry." He goes, "No, come with me." And picked him up and they brought him back. And yeah, no bueno. He got the
yep.
dog shit smoked out of him for like 2 days. Dumbass.
Yeah, they see
And that in its own. Go ahead. Go ahead.
we had a guy go AWOL. He left, right? And like it was funny too because my drill sergeant Jordan, he wanted people to go AWOL. So he made sure, and he like he you could see it in his eyes, like he always knew which one it was. And this guy, again, not gonna, as Max said, not gonna call out names. Yep,
We're gonna call him dumbass.
Private Dumbass or Private Dumas. Um,
It's France.
so so Drill Sergeant Jordan goes, now y'all gonna be bedding down tonight. If any of you geniuses think that you want to go home, just remember the train tracks are the right direction. And he
And he
walked right out of the.
and he was being serious.
He was being dead serious.
Nice.
That night, Private Dumas gone. We didn't see him until like the very end of the like literally like it was like days before graduation. And we saw like he was in civies, he was signing his paperwork, and he was chaptering out.
Yeah.
It's just like, dude, like, I don't know.
And I get it. It's not for everybody, but like, just whatever. That's all I'm
Yeah.
gonna say about that. But yeah, so there's a lot of when we were talking about our experiences with that were similar. Alamo went in 05. I went in 03. Um, so it was very close time to each other. A couple years there, right at the beginning of the GWAT, and when we were in during basic training, you had to shave your head. You were not allowed to have
Mhm.
a haircut at all. It was males only. Buzz cut like every 2 weeks. Done.
It's all about the
Once,
hygiene. They didn't want nobody
once,
having lice.
right. Once you finished your FTX, you went off into the woods and you had your cross rifle ceremony. You drank the grog. You toasted all the different people. Came over and on the pocket flap of the BDU, they put your rifles in there.
Audie Murphy, baby.
Yeah, popped them in there and all that good stuff. And like, do you still have your blood rifles, right?
I do.
Yeah, so do I. I'll probably get buried with them. So
I'm gonna be honest. I kept them and I put them on my uniform. They're
yeah,
on my dress greens.
nice. So, but the other big thing too, talking about tradition, was once we got our blood rifles, we were allowed to then wear a high and tight. You could not wear a high and tight until you finish your FTX. Once you got your
Right.
rifles and all your shit, you could have a high and tight. Like when you graduated stuff, I had a high and tight, and then I got my cord pinned on, graduated, marched, all that good stuff, and pretty badass. So,
Mhm. And you had your Warriors breakfast after you
oh
finished that
yeah,
march going up
yes,
freaking Stairway to Heaven.
yes. When
Warrior
you
breakfast.
when you God, that was
I
the
remember.
best.
God, was it? I think it was us. It was either second or third. I think it was third platoon's drill sergeant came in, and he woke up everybody in the company. He goes. He goes. All right, man, get up, get up. He walks out. He comes back in because we were freaking dog tired because we didn't get
Oh
back
yeah.
like till I think it was easily like 3 a.m. And like almost like 3:30 in the morning. We then like didn't like finish like doing anything.
You just
So
went back upstairs, crashed, fucking got some
yep.
rest. Yep.
And uh I remember he came in. I don't remember his name, but he goes. After he comes back in the second time, he goes, "Hey, y'all better get up for this damn Warriors breakfast. Hurry up! Hurry up! Warriors breakfast. Get you some steak and eggs." Then he walked right back
All right,
out.
got a lot of guys up right there. Steak and eggs, huh?
Yup.
Yeah, yeah, dude.
Warriors breakfast, man.
Yeah,
Love
it
it.
would be cool to go up and see a graduation ceremony at Fort Benning, to see how it's like just the changes of it.
Fort Moore.
It's all. Listen, I was there. It was Benning. Okay, fight
Yes,
me,
sir.
bro. But it would be cool to see how that's different nowadays. Like when we graduated, they also had like they had the infantry squad come out, and they had like all the demonstration guys came out in a striker, not a striker. I'm sorry, they came out in a Bradley.
Bradley.
Came out in a Bradley. Had the freaking you had the super what do they call them, super squad.
Mm-hmm.
They would come out. They had like one of the drill sergeants was the staff sergeant. Then you had the team leaders, the grenadiers, the automatic riflemen, and then the riflemen, and they would just demonstrate all the stuff they would wear, and they would be all gillied up and camoed up and all that kind of cool shit.
Hell yeah.
So yeah,
It's a way to go, baby.
getting your cord pinned on. Who pinned your cord on?
My cord was actually pinned on by both my mom and my father.
Cool.
So
My
they
my
I
mom
think
did mine.
I think my mom, if I remember correctly, she actually took it and put it up here, and then my father took the button and then boop buttoned it down.
Yeah, my mom did mine. You know, my mom and dad were both there. My whole family was there. And my mom did it, and we're all sitting there just like misty eyed and stuff. And yeah, it's a good day.
Hell yeah. Good day.
What a good day that was. So some of the other like army
Good day
traditions that
for
we wanted to
Savage.
talk about. Yeah, right. So we talked about high and tight blue cord. So like blood rifles, when we get our branch insignia, they put that on your pocket flap.
Congratulations, infantryman. What?
Yeah. But from what I understand, they do the same
Right
thing
into
for
the pin. You just sit there. As you
but
dig it
see,
out.
but that wasn't so bad because it's right there in your pectoral muscle. When I got pinned
Yes.
to E4, I was one of the last guys in my squad. Me and this other guy in my squad, Felix, we were the last two guys to get pinned. E4 got pinned to E4 the same day, and we're the last two guys in the
Yeah.
weapon squad to get pinned. So everybody came up, and back then we were still rocking BDUs, so they had the stuff right there on your collar. So you come up, they'd set it down nice and just bam, and just pound it right in your collarbone. You're like, eh. Next time I come up, boop, pop it in a new spot, set it down, and just
bam.
Those guys, just dig in there with your thumbs and shit. Just like,
that's right.
I got a picture somewhere of me with my bird-chested 20-year-old Mac, just like doing this shit with my freaking bruising right there on my shoulder, on my collarbone. So,
and it's funny too, because like with mine, like my collarbone has always been kind of sort of exposed, but like it also had like I also had like a lot of pectoral muscle going up into my collarbone. So like one pin would like dig into my freaking pectoral, and then the other one was just like yeah, right in the collarbone. I'm just like oh.
Yeah.
And they were
that's
like,
why you
right
appreciate sewing on your insignia and setting it on your rank collar.
Yep.
The collar
and they go, "You're right there, PFC." Yes, Sergeant.
Yeah. But from what I understand, they do the same thing with jump wings too. Like when you get your blood wings and stuff.
Yep.
Another cool tradition that we have in the Army, or that guys in the Army, people in the Army have, is they actually will take a safety pin, and for the graduates of Ranger School, and they become Ranger qualified soldiers, they're now allowed to wear a Ranger tab. So they actually take the tab and they pin it on using a safety pin to their uniform, and that's how that goes, and it's pretty dope.
At least back then. Now they just can take it and Velcro it on.
No, I just watched one that was from like a year or so ago. They still do the safety pin, even though it's Velcro.
Really?
They still use it. That's just the tradition of it,
Hell
and
yeah,
it's really
Rangers?
cool.
Hell yeah, keeping up the damn tradition, man.
It's
Hell
really cool as well when you see guys come out and like they're tabbing their son or their daughter or whatnot, and they got the same Ranger tab that they had, and now they're passing it on to their kids. Like that's cool shit, man. That's the kind of stuff that gives you like the chills down your spine and shit. It's like badass.
Nice. Hell yes.
And then another tradition that we found, a little bit more of a somber one, is you've probably seen this if you've been like during like Veterans Day or Memorial Day service. Like if you go into certain places, they'll have what's called the missing man table, and it's usually a table with one place setting all by itself. And there's certain specific items that are at that table, and I'm going to kind of describe what you're looking at real quick. If you just want to pull up a picture from that article, Macho, instead of the whole thing, I'll just we can just kind of roll off that. Like click on that top, like that one of those two pictures. Yeah, and I'm just going to read what is all there. So stand fast.
It's not letting me
The missing man table consists of the following elements. It is a small table set for one, symbolizing the isolation of the absent service member. The table is usually set close to or within sight of the entrance to the dining room. For large events, the missing man table may be set for 7 places representing each of the 6 armed services: Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, Space Force, and Coast Guard, with the 7th symbolizing the civilians who died during armed conflict. If space allows, a round table is used to represent the everlasting concern the survivors have for the missing. One or more head covers may be placed upon the table to represent the armed services of the missing persons. A white tablecloth to symbolize the pure intentions of the service members who responded to their country's call to arms. A single rose in the vase, symbolizing the blood that service members have shed in sacrifice to ensure the freedom of the United States of America. This rose also represents the family and friends who keep the faith while awaiting the return of their missing service members. Because this also applies to in honor of fallen or missing or imprisoned service members. So not just for those that died in the line of duty. The yellow ribbon represents a love of country that inspired the service members to serve their country. A slice of lemon on the bread plate that represents the bitter fate of the missing. Salt sprinkled on the bread plate that symbolizes the tears shed by waiting families. an inverted glass to represent the fact that the missing and fallen cannot partake. A lit candle symbolizes a light of hope that lives in hearts to illuminate the missing's way home, and an empty chair to represent the absence of the missing and the fallen. The elements are tradition, not prescribed. Individual displays may differ depending on availability, practicality, and appropriateness of various elements in a particular venue. For instance, private displays by individuals or groups may include a book of faith. The inclusion of the Bible in publicly funded installations displays has been challenged due to violations of the First Amendment and DoD instruction resulting in its removal. So that's kind of a little bit more. If you've ever been outside of like a VFW, or you've been like an American Legion Hall, an AMVETS or something like that, they usually have that set up kind of outside. It's not always around something. I've seen them where they've actually been kept up year round for service members and
Yeah,
whatnot. So,
which I think is
but
pretty cool. I think it's one of those things that probably should be kept up year round because they're
yeah. Oh, especially in a place like that. Like if
weirdly
you go to
enough to
like
this
a
day. Yeah, like weirdly enough to this day, you still have people that are missing from multiple different conflicts. So it's like, you know,
for sure, probably the most applicable description there being all the missing from Vietnam that were
yep.
never recovered. So,
Hmm.
so again, as we were talking about this because of the fact that we're talking about tradition and holiday tradition. So, with Christmas, like one of the big traditions I remember growing up, and this may not be everybody, this might, I don't know. The fact that like my parents would let us open a gift the night of Christmas Eve before we went to bed. We would open up one thing,
Same here.
usually a smaller gift or whatnot, nothing crazy, awesome, big or
For us, it
something
was
like that.
usually a stocking stuffer.
Yeah, something like that. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
candy canes, whatever.
Yeah.
Something small like that. But yeah,
Or in our case, as grown adults, little shot bottles of liquor.
absolutely, they're gay. So, being the fact that Alamo, when he was on active duty, served in Germany with 3-2 Striker Cav, he was able to look up some cool articles, some cool things that started. I found an article that I'm going to read um, a little here in a little bit, but he found some stuff pertaining to Christmas traditions that were started in Germany, or that have their origins in German culture and
In Germany, yeah.
in Germany.
I
So,
actually saw some of these things too. Like it was actually really cool witnessing like when you go out into the towns and stuff like that.
mhm.
Um and you you see how things are set up, like, and I mean, like, at least back then, I mean, Germany was like in specific towns like Amberg and like places like Nuremberg, it was set up freaking just beautifully, absolutely beautifully.
They took the holiday pretty seriously, huh?
Yeah, yeah, they absolutely did, man. And and they stuck to their traditions, and it was real freaking cool seeing how many people like actually like really like got into it. I'm gonna go over the ones that I remember seeing. Um, specifically like which I had no idea it was actually called this, but when I looked it up, like I actually remembered. I was like, "Oh, snap." Like I actually walked through freaking Nuremberg at the time when they had it set up. And one of those traditions is actually called Weihnachtsmarkt, which is like it's like a mixture of the word markt, which is I guess market. It's called the Christmas market, and essentially what that is outdoor markets selling festive goods, food, drinks, often featuring mulled wine, or as they called it, Glühwein, and roasted chestnuts. Now, the cool thing about that is like in the Weihnachtsmarkt that I walked through, um, they had like I don't even remember what the heck it was, but like I know one of them was like kind of like a hot chocolate, and then another one was like a it was like a weird it was like a hot like mead kind of thing. Um, but I can't remember what the hell it was called. I don't know if maybe it was maybe that was the mulled wine.
Might have
That it
been.
maybe that was the mulled wine that it was talking about in the thing, but it was really freaking cool. And in that same town, obviously they had the Nikolaustag, um, which is typically on December 6th, where they go around and they give like little kids like little gifts and stuff like that and all that
So
cool.
it's funny when the school that I work at, what
Yeah.
I for my regular job. If for those that don't know, I'm a behavior therapist, and I work with various kids of various ages and whatnot. Well, the one kid I work with, predominantly right now, he's at a school, and they actually did that same thing last week because what you just described. What did you call it?
Mhm.
The Saint Nicholas Tag.
Oh, Nikolaustag.
Nikolaus.
Nikolaustag.
They actually did that. So when the kids go to sleep, they took their shoes off, and they left them
Yeah.
outside of their classroom and stuff. And they would stick like little candy goodie bags and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. They
So they
talk
actually
about
did.
that too, and they talk about that too, and it's actually called Sankt Nikolaustag, which is like Saint Nicholas Day. And yeah, exactly what Max said. Yeah, it's and again, it's usually on December 6th, and it's basically when the kids leave their boots outside the door, hoping to receive treats and small gifts and things like that. And basically, it was really cool because like the guys like walking around in like a big red suit with the white beard and stuff, and like I remember looking at them like, oh look, they still Santa Claus here. Like, back then, like I never really thought about the fact that like Nikolaus, like it was like all like really kind of like you know it actually was, yeah, a thing. Um, Another thing that I remember them doing um was they don't really celebrate it, but they would kind of like I don't remember fuck, where was I? Was I in Amberg?
I don't know.
I think I was in Amberg at the time. And this was the first Christmas, right? This wasn't the second time, because the second time around I had actually come home. But my first time around, and basically somebody was walking around looking like Krampus. Um, and for anybody that doesn't know, Krampus is actually, again, it's not he's not celebrated. He's looked at like kind of like a very significant creature in folklore. Um, Essentially, what Krampus would do
It says,
was,
according to your notes, it says half goat, half demon figure who accompanies
yeah,
Saint Nicholas on December
yes,
6th, punishing naughty children.
and there's actually some deeper lore. Um, like basically, like he would like if the kids were really bad, like he would have them down. He would like tie them inside of the sack, and he would take a stick and just beat the crap out of them. Um, like no, like the things that
Which means the Germans being crazy Germans? No, don't say it to so.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. So it was at yeah, it was definitely out there, man. The Germans have their interesting traditions in terms of like little things like that. Um and then another thing, the and again, this was another thing that was really cool was like the Lebkuchen, which I had no, which it was basically gingerbread cookies. I didn't know they called them that. Again, you know, cool little thing. But it was on that day that was the Weihnachtsmarkt, and it's essentially gingerbread cookies, often like really spicy, and it's cool because oh my god, German pastries are so fucking delicious. Oh my god. And I still to this day, like I shit you not, my mouth is watering right now thinking about those damn cookies because, like, I remember very specifically smelling like the cinnamon and like all the ingredients that like went into these cookies, and
The
I was just,
spices and stuff, yeah.
oh yeah, and
You
I'm just like,
smell oh,
like the if you like if they're still doing it, because I know they've had some issues over in Germany for a little bit where a lot of things have gotten kind of wild with their immigration and stuff like that. If they're still doing the practice in like some of the major like places, um my god, it'd be really really cool to go like to these towns when it's this time of year, because I remember being there when it was this time of year, and it was just freaking it was gorgeous, man. And you didn't really pass a lot of houses because I mean everything was so spread out in Germany back then, like when I was there at least. And we were so kind of in that area in Bavaria where we were at, set to like our own little corner. Like, not that we couldn't get to places by train, because we could get there, and we could get to like pretty much anywhere within 45 minutes, like by train ride. And I freaking love the train ride. And it was nice. It was nice. And it's little stuff like that. Like it makes me kind of like miss Germany. And I mean that, like I really do mean that. Like I do miss Germany. Like there's a lot of traditions that they have over there, especially around the holiday season, that were just so freaking cool. Like especially like around Halloween, like with Oktoberfest and stuff like that. Like they didn't celebrate Halloween like we did, but they would still have kind of like, Halloween-ish fests. Obviously, of course, with their Oktoberfest and things like that, which Oktoberfest is cool as hell. I'm not even gonna freaking downplay that one. But no, it was cool, man. It was really freaking cool. I like that stuff. And spending time over in Germany to actually experience that stuff it was um it was awesome. It was definitely awesome. Even though I didn't get a chance to experience all of it.
well, just the fact that like you get to like be, to take part in some customs and culture, customs and courtesies of like a different culture and stuff. I mean, like you were talking about food, how like
Hell yeah.
the German pastries and stuff. I was explaining to my daughter was asking me
German
about
food
food.
is really good, dude. Don't
Oh, I
sleep on
know.
German food. It's
I
really fucking
I
good.
took I took a trip to DC with my daughter's mother when we were married,
Yeah.
and before she was born, she was 5 months pregnant with her at the time, and we went to a German place in DC, and we had I think it's called a roulade, but it's like
Rouladen.
rouladen, yeah, and it's like you've got like pickle that's inside of a
Yes.
piece of meat that's cooked, and I was like, this is fantastic, like oh my god.
Nom,
And
nom,
like,
nom, nom.
listen, German beer is a
Thinking
whole
about it
nother
right now.
thing. Like, I'm not a beer drinker. I know I lost cool points. Sue me. I'll die on this hill. Whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
But like,
It's okay.
yeah,
You haven't had a good German lager. You got to get a good
I
German
don't.
lager.
I'm not a beer drinker though. I've tried like
Don't be a sissy.
whatever. I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care. Come fight me, bro. I don't give a damn. But yeah, I'm just not a beer drinker. But like, you know, I was talking. My daughter was asking me about food and stuff when I was in Afghanistan, and
Yeah.
I was talking like I was like, yeah, they used to cook lamb and stuff, and like I freaking like lamb or oh, I'm sorry, it was like goat. Like you get like the goat on like on a skewer, and they would cook it on a grill, and you'd get like some naan, and you'd put that in there and
Yeah.
make like a little like a meaty burrito. I was like, oh man, fucking fire, bro. That is
Yeah.
some good shit. So, some of the Christmas traditions I found. This is an article from. We don't have to put it up if you don't want to. This is an article from History.com. It's how 25 Christmas traditions got their start. I'm gonna just read over, kind of skim and scan over this. There's quite a few of them in here.
I think I actually might. This would be actually
Oh,
pretty cool to have on screen for those that watch it
so
anyway, and like they can
loud.
see it.
What's that?
Jesus. You're so loud, big guy.
Did you hear it? Look at the
The
X
oh
they're playing.
the Yeah, because
There
it's
was
doing the explanation. That one video that pops up. Yeah.
oh, it was an advertisement off to the side. And I was like, and it's still playing. I was
Yeah.
just like, what the hell? This is so loud. Let's
So's
see
your
here.
mouth.
So it's doing it again. Damn it! Shut up, man. God, I can't even hear you talking. It's just like holiday music and stuff. Charlie
So
Brown
what Mac is meaning
Christmas.
to say,
Leave me alone. Just stop.
from its Puritan roots to complaints of rampant commercialism. What is it you want, Charlie Brown? Right? Charlie Brown. Christmas in America has been filled with traditions old and new. Some date back to the 16th century Germany or even ancient Greek times, while others have caught on in modern times. Here's a look at 25 ways Americans have celebrated the Christmas season, from singing songs and reciting poems to decorating trees and swapping cookies to drinking eggnog and wearing ugly sweaters.
Okay,
I'll let you take over.
pause
I had to help you
because
out.
no, I got that. I got that. I found an eggnog recipe that I'm going to try. It's like from scratch
Indulge
eggnog.
me.
Yeah, there's this guy that my daughter and I stumbled upon. He does like these shorts. His name is B. Dylan Hollis, and he does like he had a book come out called Baking Yesteryear. Some of his recipes are from like the Depression, right? So it's all these
Damn.
recipes that are like, yeah, but like
Okay.
some of them are like we made some of these. So basically, it's just you take it's called the cookie's called a fluffy. So you take a package of your favorite cake mix and you mix it with a 16-ounce container of Cool Whip, and you just take it and make like put a little scoop of it, put it on the plate,
Cool whip.
and you don't Cool Whip. So originally
Cool whip.
it calls for strawberry um, strawberry fluffies. So I was like, that those are good and everything, but let's try it with like orange cake mix, and they were dynamite. My daughter made them for me for
Interesting.
yeah. So, but he's got a bunch of these recipes he finds all over the place, and one of them is for making ranch from buttermilk and all this stuff, or he makes eggnog. He goes, man, eggnog like making this just ruined all of their ready bought eggnog. Like, you got to make it from scratch. This is like just heavenly. So, but yeah, I'm gonna try to make some eggnog this year because I
Nice.
fucking love that shit. Eggnog is great. Christmas trees, decorated Christmas trees date back
Just
to
make sure you got
Germany.
yourself a good whiskey to go with it.
That's what he said. I think it was rum. Actually, they put rum in it. Decorated trees date back to
Really?
Germany in the Middle Ages, with German and other European settlers popularizing Christmas trees in America by the early 19th century. A New York woodsman named Mark Carr is credited with opening the first U.S. Christmas tree lot in 1851. A 2019 survey by the American Christmas Tree Association, which I didn't know that was a freaking thing, predicted that 77% of U.S.
We are back.
households
What are we doing tonight?
display.
Well, the dog stole your arm.
Again?
And the humans are
Who's
shopping.
talking?
Rakuten.
What's Rakuten?
Is cashback at your favorite store?
Jesus,
What the
it's a
hell?
Rakuten commercial. Did
I
you
think it
hear
was
it?
the ad.
Yeah. It's like, what?
Yeah, it was the ad. Yeah.
Just mute all that stuff. The American Christmas Tree
Damn
Association
History
predicted
Channel
that
and their stupid
77%
advertising.
of U.S. households displayed a Christmas tree in their home. Among the trees on display, an estimated 81% were artificial and 19% were real. Tell you what, though,
Damn.
real
It's a
Christmas
small
trees, when
percentage.
you're done and they dried out, make for good kindling. Holy crap.
Fire.
Fire. Exactly. Let's see here. Decades later, it may be
Ring
hard
the
to
bell,
imagine that this
Christmas tree,
beloved
Charlie Brown.
TV special inspired by Charlie Schultz's Peanuts comic strip was first rejected by CBS executives. But when it finally aired on December 9th, 1965, almost half of all U.S. TV sets were tuned to the broadcast, and the show went on to win an Emmy, a Peabody, and an enduring following, and even a trend of Charlie Brown Christmas trees. I never thought it was such a bad little tree. Linus says in the special, it's not bad at all, really. Maybe it just needs a little love. But yeah,
Good
and
grief.
they don't even air those anymore.
Yeah, well, you got to find them. You got to find. They have the DVD sets on at
Yes.
Walmart.
I need to find those. Yeah, because that's
Dude,
that's
$5 to $10 at Walmart, depending on which one you get.
for real.
Mhm.
Love it or loathe it. Since 2005, moms and dads have either joyously or begrudgingly been hiding a toy elf each night from Thanksgiving to Christmas. More than 13 million elves have been adopted since 2005 when Carol
Elf on the
Abersold
Shelf.
and her daughter, Shonda Bell, published the book Elf on the Shelf, a Christmas tradition that comes with the toy. Social media has even inspired some parents to set up elaborate scenarios for their elves, as in, he TP'd the tree, she filled the sink with marshmallows. And that's gone into there's now other variations of that. Like they have the Jewish variation, it's a mensch on a bench. And
Nice.
there's usually a bunch of other stuff, just goofy shit,
Do you know how to say
memes.
Superman in Spanish? Or not Spanish, in German?
No.
Übermensch.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Übermensch. Mensch is just a guy, just man.
Gotcha. I'm going to scroll down to Advent calendars. Early versions of this tradition started in Germany in 1903 by publisher Gerhard Land, offered a way for children to count down to Christmas by opening one door or window a day to reveal a Bible message, poem, or small gift. Since gaining mass popularity by 1920, the calendars have evolved to secular calendars that include daily gifts from many bottles of wine to nail polish to chocolate to action figures.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually very partial to the Lego Advent calendars. I haven't gotten one yet, but I plan on it.
I didn't know they had one.
They sure do.
Gingerbread houses. Although Queen Elizabeth I gets credit for the early decorating of gingerbread cookies, once again it's the Germans who lay claim to starting the gingerbread house tradition. And when the German brothers Grimm wrote Hansel and Gretel, a new holiday tradition was born. Today, edible decorations are available in a slew of pre-packed kits. I know somebody that actually goes so far as the whole family makes gingerbread houses, and then after the first year, they blow them up with fireworks. It's just like
nice.
only in Florida. The Nutcracker. For many, the holiday season is not complete without a trip to watch this ballet, with music by Tchaikovsky and originally choreographed by Marius
Piotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky.
Whatever. The romantic tale of the young Clara's Christmas Eve premiered December 8th, 1892 in St. Petersburg, Russia. It was performed for the first time outside of Russia in 1934 in England and made its way to the United States in 1944, where it was performed by the San Francisco Ballet. It became a must-see event in America in the 60s as performances spread across the nation.
Can I just say,
what are you? The whole time I'm finished now, I just hear you going gasping.
Can I just say that I like the way you Trump paused. St. Petersburg,
Russia.
Yeah.
I wasn't even trying to do that. I was like, Russia. That wasn't even drawing into that, but whatever. It's funny.
Russia.
Oh, Jesus.
Ugly sweaters.
You can blame our neighbors to the north for the silly, ironic tradition that really gained steam in the 1980s.
The can ads?
According to the Ugly Christmas Sweater Party Book, sweaters became a party trend in Vancouver, Canada in 2001, and the trend is seemingly here to stay. According to Fox Business, the ugly sweater industry is a multi-million business with websites such as Tipsy Elves, retailers including Macy's, Kohl's, and Target, and even food chains jumping on the ugly bandwagon.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually planning on getting one or two.
There's some good ones out there. Cookies and milk for Santa. When leaving treats for Santa and his reindeer, While leaving treats for Santa and his reindeer dates back to ancient Norse mythology, Americans began to sweeten up the tradition during the Great Depression in the 1930s as a sign of showing gratitude during a time of struggle. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Candy
Candy
canes.
canes.
Whether devoured as a treat or hung on a tree as decoration, candy canes are the #1 selling non-chocolate candy during December and date back to 1670 Germany. The red and white
Damn.
peppermint sticks
That
arrived
figures.
stateside in 1847 when a German-Swedish immigrant in Worcester, Ohio, placed them on a tree. By the 1950s, an automatic candy cane making machine was invented, cementing their mass appeal. What I didn't, and I just found this out a little while ago, and shame on me, is to take like hot chocolate and stick the candy cane in there and let it melt and let the peppermint get into the hot chocolate. Oh,
Bruh.
my
Bruh.
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 Exactly.
You're speaking my
Yeah.
language, especially
Yeah,
if you
man.
do that with some mocha and coffee.
Nothing makes the holidays like a glass of spiked eggnog. Although the Yuletide cocktail stems from posset, a drink made with hot curdled milk and ale or wine from medieval England, American colonists get credit for making it popular and adding rum. Even George Washington had a special recipe. Oh, of course he did. Those guys all drank like fucking kings back then.
Door wreaths.
Christmas wreaths. Wreaths have been around since the ancient Greek and Roman times, but the evergreen Christmas wreath, often adorned with boughs of holly, eventually took on Christian meaning, with the circular shape representing eternal life and the holly leaves and berries symbolic of Christ's crown of thorns and blood, according to the New York Times. Today's wreaths, which come in all varieties, from flowers and fruit to glass balls and ribbon to artificial and themed, are most often seen as a secular winter tradition. Scroll down to
It's a wonderful life.
roll down to Christmas lights.
Indeed.
Thomas Edison may be famous for the light bulb, but it was his
Christmas
partner and friend Edward Hibbard Johnson who may have the bright idea of stringing bulbs around a Christmas tree in New York
Oh,
in
Jesus.
1882. By 1914, the lights were being mass-produced, and now some 150 million sets of lights are sold in the U.S. each year.
Te llamó
If
la
you're
compañía de seguro
Doggone
haciendo
it.
dinero.
Ads.
¿No te parece raro?
And if you're smart, you get an artificial tree, get one that's pre-lit, so you ain't got to worry about stringing them damn lights.
Exactly.
Pain in the ass.
Yeah, we have a fancy schmancy tree, and the lights are actually strewn throughout the branches, and it's just a beautiful freaking tree.
It's wonderful. Making fun of fruitcake. A favorite of the Brits, both Princess Diana and Kate Middleton served it at their weddings. Fruitcake, that much maligned mix of dried fruit, nuts, and brandy, has been the subject of long-running American holiday jokes. Truman Capote wrote a short story about fruitcake weather in 1956. The small town of Manitou Springs, Colorado, holds an annual fruitcake toss day on January 3rd, and the dessert has become fodder for many a comedian. For example, in 1985, Johnny Carson cracked, "The worst Christmas gift is fruitcake. There's only one fruitcake in the entire world, and people keep sending it to each other." Scroll down to a visit from St. Nick. Best known as The Night Before Christmas, the reading of this classic by poet Clement Moore is an American holiday tradition. Believed to have been written on Christmas Eve in 1822, The New Yorker is said to have been inspired by his sleigh ride home. According to the U.S. Library of Congress, Clement, a professor at the General Theological Seminary in Manhattan, was, quote, embarrassed by the work, which was made public without his knowledge in December 1823. Moore did not publish it under his name until 1844, which is another 21 years later.
Luminarias. Interesting.
Simple folded brown bags filled with sand and lit by votive candles, particularly popular in the Southwest. Dating back more than 300 years, they lined sidewalks and churches in places such as Albuquerque and Santa Fe, New Mexico. In Phoenix, the annual Los Noches de las Luminarias at the Desert Botanical Garden features more than 8,000 luminaria bags.
Nice.
12 Days of Christmas. And this
Oh,
is,
snap.
I think I'm going to do that one in poinsettias and be done. Even though most hear the song between Thanksgiving and Christmas Day, the Christian 12 Days of Christmas, which span the birth of Jesus and the visit of the Magi, actually take place from December 25th to January 6th. The earliest version of the poem turned song is thought to have been published in Mirth Without Mischief, a children's book from 1780, with the modern version credited to English composer Frederick Austin, who set the poem to music. Each year, the PNC Christmas Price Index totals up the total cost of the 12 gifts named in the song based on current markets. For 2019, everything from a partridge in a pear tree to 12 drummers drumming would run up a bill of $38,993.59.
Ouch.
And the last thing we're going to cover is poinsettias. America's Christmas flower, these plants native to Central America were brought to the United States and given their name by the country's first U.S. ambassador to Mexico, botanist Joel Roberts Poinsett, in the 1820s. It was a California horticulturist named Paul Eck who brought the traditionally red and green plants to the masses 100 years later. He donated the plants to TV shows, and according to the Los Angeles Times, poinsettia became the best-selling potted plant in the nation by 1986.
Dear God. Interessante.
And that is the end of that. So we can click out of that article before it starts making more damn noise. There we go. So yeah, that is our chat on tradition. We talked a little bit about tradition that we had in the military. Also, just a Christmas tradition, kind of getting into that holiday spirit or whatnot. Please, if you are watching this or listening to us, feel free to go on and comment and tell us about traditions you've experienced in your life, whether you were in the military, whether you're in some type of organization, whether it's at school, professionally. We'd love to hear about it. I mean, that's the whole point of this, is just kind of hear something that we might not have heard before and all that good stuff. So,
yeah, we're all about cool information, man.
Culture sharing.
Indeed.
Sharing. Absolutely. So that's our chat on tradition. We're going to start wrapping up the show like we always do. If you were watching this for the first time, Alamo and I have been best friends since high school, which was a long time ago. We've stayed in touch throughout the years, obviously. At one point, we worked together. We had a coworker of ours named John, who was just an absolutely just wonderful person to be around, made work so much damn fun. We laughed our asses off all the time and just got through some really crap situations and long days by just laughing at dumb shit, and it was fantastic. Well, we fell out of touch with John, and come to find out that John had some demons and unfortunately decided to solve a temporary problem with a permanent solution, and he committed suicide, unfortunately. And that is a travesty, because John was a guy worth knowing. He would have given you the shirt off his damn back. Might not have fit because he was a small, tiny, petite little dude, but he would have given you the shirt off his back. And when Alamo and I
he usually wore most of his clothes baggy anyway.
He did, yeah. When Alamo and I were talking about, working together, doing something together, we found out about John passing, and that was kind of, for me, that was like the catalyst moment. I was like, yeah, let's do this. So we discussed a couple of different things. Eventually the topic of a podcast came up, and I was like, dude, I don't know shit about a podcast. And Alamo said something along the lines of, how hard can it be? They put a freaking monkey in space. And I was like, it's a valid point. Those are facts right there. So we came up with the name, the Battle Bros Podcast. Alamo has been a great friend the whole time I've known him. We're practically like brothers. I call his mom, he calls my mom. So, That's what you do. And in the process of kind of figuring out and identifying what our niche was going to be and our target audience and all that stuff, we came up with the idea of the Bros Code. And what the Bros Code is 4 easy things you can remember when you have hard days, when you're feeling down and out, when you're feeling like there's no sense carrying on, because that's wrong. You deserve to be here. You deserve to tell your story and all that good stuff. So if you can remember these 4 easy parts of the Battle Bros Code, you're going to be doing decent. Okay, you might not be doing great, but you're going to be doing a lot better than shitty. Okay, so easy to remember. Just remember the letters BROS, and you're good to go. B, be tenacious. Be like Space Force. Make your own traditions. Do something awesome. Go out and give it your all. Do something noteworthy. Do something amazing. Go out and whatever you choose to do, whatever you choose to identify as, give it 100%. Okay? In the immortal words of the great and prophetic Ron Swanson, don't half-ass 2 things. Whole ass 1 thing. And those are words to live by. R, refuse to surrender. There's going to be plenty of times in life when things come up that just suck. They're shitty. Knock your dick in the dirt. Whatever. Okay? Whatever those points are, just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep going. Okay? Those aren't the moments that are going to, define you. Those are the moments that make you realize how good you have it, and you keep going, and you drive on and keep moving to what you're trying to accomplish. Obliterate your obstacles, like going along with the last one. Sometimes the obstacles are mighty. Sometimes it's a mountain in front of you. Sometimes it is, a vertical wall that's 20 feet high. Sometimes it's an obstacle where you have to navigate around it through the woods, over the river, through the woods, all that good stuff. Okay, whatever it takes, obliterate those obstacles. Sometimes you got to get in the river and swim downstream and get wet and soggy and do what you got to do. You got to get muddy. You got to get, sweaty. Sometimes you got to climb over that wall and, get over on the other side. Sometimes you have to, you got to breach the obstacle with some, dynamite, some C4, and some Bangalores. Sometimes you have to maybe drive an armored vehicle into it. Not judging. Yeah. Whatever the case may be, obliterate your obstacles and continue moving forward and moving on to your objective. Okay? Hit the OBJ, hit the X, and make it your bitch. That's all I gotta say. S, most important part of the Battle Bros Code. S, seek out help in a time of need. As you mentioned earlier with our friend John, there is, every time I think about John, I laugh, I giggle, I smile at the very least, because John was a guy worth knowing, and I'm sure anybody that's like that, those are the people that especially when you find out that they're not here anymore. It's like, God, you just never know. Like it just comes up out of nowhere. They don't talk to somebody, or they don't think there's help for them, and they're here 1 minute and gone the next, and you're just like, the fuck over. So if you feel like you're not at your best,
Tango Foxtrot.
Exactly. If you feel like you're not at your best, if you feel like things are getting hard, reach out to somebody. By design, we're social creatures, just like primates and all that other stuff. We're not supposed to go through things alone. There's times when we have to endure things alone, but maybe for a short amount of time, not all the time. So just remember, there are people out there that you can call on, and it all depends on what that looks like. Everybody's different. It might be a family member, I can call this guy at any hour of the night, respectably, and just be like, hey man, I need to talk. I got something on my mind. I'm not in a good place. And we'll hash it out. And we've done that for each other a couple of different times, because that's what you do for people you care about.
Damn right.
With my 2 brothers, we could do that for each other. Absolutely. It could be a coworker, it could be a family friend, it could be an acquaintance you've had from school since way back when. It could be, especially for folks of our subculture of life, folks that serve in the military. It might be somebody that you served with. It could be, somebody that the greatest thing that happened for me when I got on Facebook, like 7 years ago was I reconnected with all these guys that I served with, and I was just like, oh my god, like where have you guys? I feel bad, like where have I been? You know, just living under a rock the past few years since I got out of the military and shit. And it's been wonderful to catch up with old friends and all that good stuff. And they just, they kind of help you out. You laugh at, goofy shit and you remember stories and this, that, and the other. Um, but yeah, if you have people that you served with, I mean, reach out to them because they probably have a better inclination of knowing what you went through when you were in. As opposed to talking to somebody that has no earthly idea and can't really understand the context or just the simple understanding of, what that was like. In the event that you don't have any of those resources or types of personalities available to you, and God forbid you feel like you're going to do something permanent, reach out to somebody. There is the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. If you ever feel like you're going to go down that road, I would encourage you to stop and just take a breath, take an admin halt, take a knee, think about your options because you deserve to be here. Okay. If you feel like you're going to do something that permanent, reach out and call 1-800-273-8255. Again, that's 1-800-273-8255. The last four numbers, you can just dial TALK, TALK, Tango Alpha Lima Kilo. Okay. You can also, as of a couple years ago, you can get on there and dial 988. Again, that's 988 from a cellular phone. You can also text them as well. Once you get on there, you dial, select option 1 to talk to somebody immediately. They have folks they have that phone line staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you are in dire straits and in an emergency situation, call them or reach out and stop yourself from making something permanent that doesn't necessarily need to be permanent. That can just be temporary and that you can go through with somebody and they can help you out. Okay. So there isn't anything we can do to bring John back, unfortunately. John was a great dude. He was a funny motherfucker. If John was still here, we wouldn't have this show, and that would be an okay reason not to have this show. But that's just unfortunately not the way it is. John is unfortunately gone, and we strive to honor his memory every episode that we do. So that's kind of why we do what we do. But if you can remember those 4 things: be tenacious, refuse to surrender, obliterate your obstacles, seek out help in a time of need, you're going to have a pretty good shot of, getting a good start on getting yourself moving in the right direction. And that's what it's all about. So that's what we're trying to do with our podcast. So
yeah, sure.
that is all I have. Alamo is going to do all the shameless plugs and all that good stuff for the social media. And then we're going to wrap up for tonight and we'll go from there. So take it away.
All right. If you want to catch up with us on the social medias, you could do that on multiple places. You could do that on facebook.com/battlebros.podcast. You could also do that on the Instagram at battlebros_podcast, as well as the X, formerly known as Twitter, at battlebrospc, where you can contact us via the instant messaging system on those platforms, and you can start a little chat. We would love to chat with you, as well as anybody else you feel like getting involved in the chat. Law enforcement, military, and civilian alike. We have no qualms speaking to anybody. If you guys like what you see here on the show, go ahead, leave comments directly in the comment section here on the YouTube. You could also do that over on the Rumble. And surprisingly enough, I found out not too long ago, and I kept forgetting to actually you can modify now. So if you have anything to say, if you feel like you want to go ahead and give us ideas for shows, if there's a topic or anything that you would like to discuss, leave us a comment in the comment section over on Spotify as well. If you like what you hear and you want to keep hearing our goofy asses talk to you, you can do that in multiple different places. You could do that on Spotify. You can do that on iHeartRadio. You could do that on Amazon Music, Google Music, and other platforms of your choosing or I should say, your favorite platforms. And of course, like I said, over on the Rumble, if you want an alternative to the YouTube, you can catch us over there on rumble.com, where our tag is battle. Where is it? Where is it? Where's that? Did I lose it?
It's really not that
Somewhere?
long. You just got to type battle. And then he's going to tell you the rest here in a second as soon as he figures this shit out.
If when you go to Rumble, just go ahead to Rumble, and in the search bar, just type in. For some odd reason, it's acting up. It's not. There we go. Type in Battle Bros, all one word. Battle Bros, all one word, and you'll find us over there on the Rumble. Give us some likes. Like I said, hit that Rumble button. Leave comments and all that good stuff, because over there we are actually monetized. We actually get ads and everything over there on Rumble. So it's a little bit more of a preferred platform. We could get a little bit of money, even if it's only, $5 extra a month. We would definitely appreciate it.
I don't know why. I just thought of that scene from a Euro Trip. Do you see this? A nickel. I opened my own hotel. Smacks a guy across the face. So funny.
But again, if you want to get in contact with us, you could do that on the instant messaging programs. You could also do that through the comment section. But if you would like to contact us more privately, and you have a family member or yourself or a friend that is experiencing some issues and you just need to chat, you could do that over on our private email. That is battlebrospc@gmail.com. Once again, that's battlebrospc@gmail.com, where you can contact us. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know how you're feeling, all that good stuff. And heck, even if it's just to kind of be like, hey, you guys suck. Cool. We're here for it. Well, I mean, we'll delete your message, but, hey, we'll read it and then be like, cool, click.
Just put it up on the wall. Use it for like motivation of like to not suck.
Exactly. Yes. Also, even if if it's one of those things where you just want to give us show ideas, hey, we'll take it there as well. Beyond that, just keep it classy, y'all. Just make sure don't hesitate. If you're feeling down, reach out, man. Other than that, I got nothing.
Yes. To double tap back onto what he was talking about, it is very important to know that, we do this just as a way of giving back to anybody who needs to hear this. We are wanting to try to do our part to make mankind a little bit better. We strive to do that with every show. We may not always be great. There's sometimes when you watch our first couple episodes, there's pretty cringe. So we try to get better every episode. We try to just, go about this in the best way possible. The biggest thing we want to do is just reach out to people and just know that, sometimes if you hear the message of the show, just be like, hey, you know what? It was a cool message. It may not apply to me, but I know somebody it might need to get to. Pass it along, pay it forward. I've told my daughter, I've said this story a bunch of times. My daughter asked me how many followers we have, and I'm like, sweetie, I said that's not really a metric that we're tracking. We are very appreciative and thankful for everybody out there who still continues to consume our content, whether you're watching, listening, or whatnot. We're still very much a small podcast. This is just two of us. We're not, we're like on the one opposite end of the spectrum from like Rogan. Like, Rogan's the godfather of
big
podcast.
Dog.
The big dog, yeah. The big cackety-whack. So, but, it's good where we're at because we're still humble. We're still, trying to get out there and make a name for ourselves and get better and whatnot. But we cannot do that without you. So thank you very, very much. But like I was saying, I'm grateful for everybody there. But the the most important metric to us is if we can stop somebody from going down that permanent road of ending their life, then we've accomplished something, and that's going to be something that I would be eternally grateful for. That being said, like I mentioned earlier, just remember that you can always pass this along, pay it forward. Word of mouth is still probably a very popular way that we are found out about. So please don't be afraid to share our show. If you think somebody needs to watch it, we have 96 episodes that we've done so far, talking about a variety of subjects and topics. We just want to help do our part to make mankind a little bit better and everything else, especially during the holidays. A lot of people get down, get the blues and whatnot, and get depressed.
The Christmas blues.
Yeah, it's a real thing. Trust me, I know.
Sure.
But again, we just want to help everybody out. So that being said, we want to thank everybody for stopping by. This has been episode 096 entitled Tradition of the Battle Bros podcast. My name is Mac. My best friend over here, his name is Alamo. Thank you so much for stopping by and giving us a look and or listen. We will see you sometime soon. We'll probably do another episode this next week, which will be the 20th. And then we're going to be on a little bit of a holiday break for at least a couple of weeks just to get through Christmas and New Year's and all that good stuff. So we'll do episode 097. Don't know what it's on yet, but we'll do that next week. And then we're going to take a holiday break. So we'll see you next week. And until then, just remember, be tenacious, refuse to surrender, obliterate your obstacles, seek out help in a time of need. If you can do those, you're giving yourself the leg up to being okay. So until that time, this has been the Battle Bros podcast, and we'll see you down the road. Thanks for stopping by.
Battle Bros.
Do you need to do it like you were talking about your commander in the middle of your face?
Oh yeah, Battle Bros out.
You talk about cringe. Jesus, I see that salute and I just want to punch you in the face with this shit.